Everyone, TGIF, welcome to this Sports Shorts Daily Friday morning edition. Tronny Rants alongside Tommy Krysan, TK joining us from the office over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. I got lunch specials, on-site catering, and you name it. With high school football going on, you're going to be doing those tailgates on Fridays, and then, of course, LSU and Saints. Make sure Tremonti's is a part of your plans. All right. So TK, today we're going to talk about the reaction of last night's first NFL game of the year. Buffalo, the preseason favorite, according to the odds makers, to win the Super Bowl. They looked the part last night as they win 31-10 over the Rams at home. They were only a 2.5-point favorite. We'll get into that. The line with the LSU Southern hovering right there around 50 at 49.5. The weather not going to be good. How will that affect the point spread? That could be a factor. It's about a 60% chance of rain. Also, the Saints 5.5-point favorite over the Falcons. We know Marcus May is expected to play. Remember, he was the safety that was arrested a week and a half ago. But much like the Alvin Kamara situation, it's not going to play out as NFL suspension, if any, until after the legal stuff is taken care of. So he'll be full go. And how will they handle Marcus Mariota and this Atlanta Falcons team, which is only predicted to win about 3 or 4 games this year? We'll get into that. High school football week 2 underway tonight. Parkview Baptist taking on Catholic of New Iberia. You can watch that game tonight on Pelican Sports. That's Cox Cable Channel 20 in Lafayette and Baton Rouge. Myself and Derry Beckwith will be on the call. First off, TK, let's go a little back to last night. The Buffalo Bills, boy, did they look the part. You know, sometimes that first game of the year can be a little clunky. Look at the Green Bay Packers last year. You know, Aaron Rodgers, Saints blow them out in Jacksonville, the Ida game. They look like they're going to be a horrible team. They end up being one of the best teams in the league. And then, you know, we've seen Tom Brady get off the slow starts in years past, whether it be with Tampa or New England. And, of course, he ends up winning a Super Bowl. Well, none of that was the case with the Buffalo. They lived up to all the preseason hype. They pounded defending Super Bowl champs. Their defense looked great. Their quarterback looked fantastic. I mean, they looked the part.
They really did. Now, here's the thing, Ron. The score was 10-10 at half, but it was one of those, like, the Rams were lucky as heck to be 10-10 at half, okay? Could have easily been down 2 or 3 scores. You know, and then Buffalo just separated in the second half. Josh Allen, unbelievable. Now, you said it. The Rams are the reigning Super Bowl champs. They were playing at home. The place was packed. The Bills are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. So you've had 2 great teams, 2 teams that it could be a Super Bowl rematch down the road. So it was just, you know, it was football at its best. Now, I'll say this, an observation I have. In the NFL, when you got 2 teams like this, the only thing that stops the offense is the offense. Penalty, mistake, tip ball, interception. But, man, when you got 3, 4 guys going out, sometimes 5, somebody's open 4 or 5 yards down the field. They're going to get him the ball. You know, Stafford and Allen both at times just moved like right through the defense, you know. And then all of a sudden a mistake happened. I mean, my point being that, you know, the NFL, you know, we all know the team that makes the fewest mistakes usually wins. But in the offensive game, the passing game that is the NFL, if you don't stop yourself, your chances of getting 3 points or 7 points are pretty strong.
The Josh Allen, I mean, you know, here's a great story. I mean, you know, the perfect example of if you've got size and a little bit of athleticism, you know, just keep playing, because he was a guy that, you know, had the one offer out of high school, that had no offers out of high school, had the one offer from Wyoming out of junior college. He said he had another offer, but, you know, that was talking to him. And how about this? Josh Allen decided, you know, to go back and play his senior year in college instead of going pro. I mean, this guy has done it the hard way. You know, he has gone through the ranks of being a nobody, not being highly recruited, playing for Wyoming. Then he does great his junior year. He's probably going to be a first-round pick. Instead, he, you know, respects his school, who thanks his coach, goes back, has a great senior year. But he has been a stud ever since he got to the league. There was no learning curve for him. I mean, he has been fantastic. And he looks like it all came together this year. I mean, he looks the part. You know, sometimes, you know, Coach Burtman used to say, and, you know, you got to get to Omaha and lose a couple times before you can win it. And obviously Buffalo has had those tough losses in the playoffs the last couple of years. And now it looks like it's his turn to get over that hump, even though the AFC is super, super difficult. We're going to see that. I want to see how the Denver Broncos look with their new quarterback, Russell Wilson. I want to see how all the rest of the league looks. Obviously, the Chiefs are going to have something to say about everything. So it's not a foregone conclusion that Buffalo is going to end up in the Super Bowl, but they for one of the few times in this league in the recent history have lived up to all the hype. Usually there's a letdown. That was not the case last night. And I know you have a thought on, and something stood out to you on offense and defense these days in the NFL. What was that?
Well, it was like I said, unless the offense stops itself, they're going to move the ball down the field, if they can eliminate the mistakes. I mean, when you got Stafford and Josh Allen, they're going to find an open receiver. Somebody's going to be open. They're going to get them the ball, and then they're going to try to juke and run and gain yardage. And then, you broke the clinching touchdown, which really put it away was, receiver got behind the defense. But here, you're right. Josh Allen looks the part. The eyeball test thing. I mean, he's on the sideline looking at the iPad. He's interacting with his teammates. And the other thing, when they have the camera on him, when that team huddles up, you could see the other 10 guys are glued to him. He's in charge of that huddle. He's in charge of that team. He's got it going on. He looks the part. And, I mean, defenses in the NFL have got a huge challenge against good teams. Now, there's teams out there that are going to play and the defense is going to dominate. But when you got Stafford, Allen, other great quarterbacks, they're going to move the ball more times than not.
McVay, the head coach for the Rams, said it was a humbling experience, and I could agree with that. And I agree 100% with you. 10-10.5 was like, wait a minute. Buffalo dominated the first half. How's this tied up? And then they distanced themselves in that fourth quarter. The rules are definitely tainted towards the offense, right? In the NFL, and if you just breathe heavy on a guy on a deep ball, it's usually a pass interference or anything like that. You can't hit a quarterback anymore, really. And so, it is an offensive-minded game. That's why I was surprised that the Rams only hung 10 on the board. That's not a good sign of things to come, albeit against arguably the top two defense in the NFL, though. That's the other caveat to that. Byron Painter saying kind of like the 90s Bulls before they dominated, talking about the Buffalo, they had to pay their dues in the playoffs and lose, kind of like the Bulls did to the Pistons before they got on a run. Don't know that we're going to see 6 titles out of these guys, but no question, I think folks in Buffalo think they got a great shot over the next 3 or 4 years to take home at least one. All right, let's move on to talking a little Saints here. The New Orleans Saints, 5.5-point favorite against the Falcons on Sunday. The more you look at this game, the more you realize, boy, on paper, the Saints really look like a favorite. That said, it is the NFL. You're on the road. Marcus Mariota is the quarterback now of your franchise. I mean, Marcus Mariota didn't really scare me when he came right out of college. I sure don't know that he scares me now. It's just a lot of unknowns. We saw Jameis Winston for 4 for 4, and we think, okay, that's it. Saints are a playoff team. Sean Payton said in an interview yesterday that he thinks the Saints are going to win the division. I don't know if we have enough of a snapshot. I mean, with no preseason, 3 games, the starters never play really. I mean, where are you with the Saints team? I mean, have you waffled any in this last week?
I have not. I think they're going to win the NFC South. They're the best team on paper, and I know you don't win the thing on paper. But, and it can start Sunday in Atlanta, and they know that, an NFC South opponent and a team that, not expected to do well this year. So I think the Saints are going to hang their hat on the defense. Jameis Winston can get it going with all the offensive weapons. If the line can block well enough, I think the Saints can win going away. I really like the 5.5-point number. You might want to take the Saints and lay that 5.5. In fact, that can be a Sports Shorts Daily, Meat and Potatoes, USA.com. Pick for you right there. We'll go with the Saints minus 5.5. There's a freebie for you. There's a QR code if you want to get to meatpotatoes.com. They gave you a free pick last night on the Bills and got other picks posted for college football this weekend. But I really think the Saints are going to win going away unless they just totally lay an egg, turn it over, bad penalties, whatever. I think that Dennis Allen has got them, ready to go mentally and it's going to start with the defense, who is very, very good for the Saints. As you mentioned, Marcus May, the defensive back. As best we can tell, he's going to play. He is on the 53-man roster that was released yesterday about this time, so a little midday yesterday. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I'm sure they have a plan. And, the NFL, they normally don't, take somebody off of the roster on Thursday, Friday, Saturday before the game. Usually those kind of discipline decisions come down the pipe on a Monday or Tuesday at the latest. So I would think May plays. I don't know that, but that's my thought.
The Atlanta Falcons are in disarray. The Carolina Panthers are in disarray. I'm not going to stick a fork necessarily in the Tampa Bay Bucs because of the things that are happening with Brady and their offensive line, because it is Tom Brady. I mean, the guy has never had a bad year. Just hasn't. And the thing about the Tampa Bay Bucs is, regardless of their start, there's 17 games. There's plenty of time for them to kind of get right. We all believe that the disappearance of Brady, the reports that have come out since that his wife's not happy that he's back playing football, that all of that's going to have some sort of negative impact on his psyche, problems with the offensive line and training camp. But, man, I'm telling you, this is the greatest ever to do it. He was fantastic a year ago. They looked like a Super Bowl team a year ago, and probably should have been in the Super Bowl a year ago. And I'm just not ready to count them out against Jameis Winston, who it's all about potential. He's still the P word, potential. He hasn't done it yet, and especially in a Saints uniform. So I'm gonna still give Tampa Bay, because the lead in that division by a little bit. But I think the Saints are a playoff team. You don't really have to win a division per se, but I definitely think they are a playoff team.
Well, I think it's the end of the line for Tampa Bay. Keep in mind the new coach, all this other stuff with Brady, and Byron says if Godwin's good, that's a good thing for the Bucs. That's obviously, the tight end's different. I mean, I don't know. I just think the Tampa Bay story is going to come to an end, and the Saints, again, I'm gonna hang my hat on it. The Saints going to win the South. Now, we may get to late November, December, and I'm dead wrong. I don't know, but I really think the Saints are going to win the South. Tampa will finish second. Carolina, Atlanta, they'll battle for the bottom of the South Division.
There were a lot of players that are a little nicked up, and it's a good point that was made. The Saints aren't as necessarily healthy as you would like going into this game. Michael Thomas, he was limited, didn't practice the other day, limited the next day. When it comes to his hamstring now, that's not good. We'll have to see what happens there. I think the Saints had about 9-10 guys on their injury list, whereas the Falcons only had 2 or 3. Now, most of the 9 or 10 weren't super, super important. Here we go. Here's the practice report for the Saints. Traquan Smith did not practice, groin. Dwayne Washington, hamstring. Adebo, Young, these are and Tanner Owen all didn't practice. Michael Thomas, limited. Eric McCoy, calf, limited. Pete Werner, groin, limited. JT Gray, hamstring, limited. Only 3 players for the Falcons. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the Saints. So, Chance is definitely right that the Saints are a little bit more nicked up than you'd like going into this first game. Now, how much of that is cat and mouse? How much of that real? Do you put limited when you're just being overly cautious when you don't need to be? We'll see.
Well, time will tell. But, and we don't know. The Falcons might be a little nicked up too, and the Saints are supposed to be a much better team than the Falcons. I say lay that 5.5 points and get in the rocking chair.
All right, there you go. A freebie by TK. By the way, meatandpotatoesusa.com gave out a free one last night. They gave you the Bills -2.5. That might have been the easiest money of the weekend. All right, LSU, 49.5-point favorite. The issue isn't whether or not LSU is going to win this game against Southern. It's obviously whether or not they cover the spread. I like the Tigers to cover the spread. The one thing that popped up, though, that may give me pause on the amount is the weather. Mother Nature is going to play a factor. Now, according to Dan Bournet, it never rains in Tiger Stadium. Well, that's going to get put to the test here tomorrow. It's been raining all summer. It's been raining all week. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, 60% chance. That could slow down things and make that 49.5 interesting.
Well, I don't think there's any question LSU's going to win the game, but I think what the LSU fans have to look for, and what Brian Kelly's looking for, is improvement. You know that old thing about the week 1 to 2 is when you show the most improvement. That's a lot of coaches believe in that. So I think what the LSU's got to look for is you got to try to play a perfect game. You know, limited amount of penalties, no turnovers. You know, no dumb mental penalties. You don't need the false starts and the targeting and all that stuff, and play good, solid football. Don't have a mental breakdown where a wide receiver's running wide open. You got to try to play the best game you can play, you know, bar none, with the fewest mistakes possible. I think that's what you're looking at. I think we see a lot of guys get to play. There'll be a lot of rotation of the personnel group, especially with Mason Smith out on the defensive line. Brian Kelly addressed that there's not a lot of depth there. You know, it's great when you had Mason Smith, but he's done for the year. So you're going to have to count on some guys to, you know, really step it up, next man in, next man up, whatever you want to say, and go out and give the coaches a reason to leave you in the game. I mean, that's what you're going to have to do with
that. Game is a hardcore sellout. I actually have had people ask me for some tickets. I think you want to make Kayshon Boutte happy. Ronnie, are we still betting the Alabama first half, Rachel? Absolutely we are.
It went to 13.5 this morning in the first half. They're 22-2 last 24 games in the first half, including hitting last week.
And we bet it last week. We told you on Sports Church Radio we were going to bet it, and we're back on the bet it every week train this year. I mean, you know, is it going to go 12-0, 13-0? Of course not. But if it goes 10-3, you're a winner. So back on the first half. Raging Cajuns have longest win streak in college football, 14 in a row. That is correct, sir. That is a fact. I think someone asked about the former Raging Cajun coach here on the thread, asked about the Florida Gators.
Sunbelt Billy, they call him.
Yes, Sunbelt Billy. They are a 6.5-point favorite. The Gators are at home against Kentucky, both two teams that are ranked in the top 25. Is there going to be a letdown? Naturally, there will be. There's no way you couldn't be. They had a record crowd, largest crowd in the history of the Swamp. They've taken on Utah. They were an underdog at home. They pull out the victory late. I mean, yes, there's going to be a letdown. But and when it comes to point spread, 6.5 is a good big number at home against a good team that on paper you're kind of evenly matched with. I think Florida wins the game? I'm going to take Florida every time against Kentucky in the Swamp. History proves out, that's the case. Okay, the Kentucky's won, I think, once or twice in the Swamp ever. So I'm going to take Florida to win. The question is the cover. I probably am going to leave that game alone because I still question Florida's offense. And yes, there is going to be a letdown factor, but do they have enough at home and in that tank to win this game? I tell you what, if Florida does win this game, Tommy, we got to start looking at Florida in a different light. If they can win 2 games against ranked teams at home, that this is now a program that is jump-started to the next level, where LSU, it looks like a program that's going to take a year. They got to flush out the bad apples. They got to get the new apples. They got to get the new system in, blah, 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 all the excuses. If Florida wins this week, they're not having that. We got to wait a year. They're going right to it now, and that game against LSU in the Swamp is going to be a giant game, and LSU is going to be a big favorite, underdog.
Well, and see, I'm the opposite. I think Florida's going to smash Kentucky. Okay, here's the deal. All the confidence, the debut of Billy Napier, all the confidence of beating Utah. Utah won the Pac-12 last year. They picked to win it this year. You beat Utah. Now it's a conference game. It's an SEC East game with the Kentucky Wildcats, who are very good. They're ranked. Coach Stoops has done a great job there, obviously. And they got some serious players. But I just think Florida's going to ride that wave. They're going to ride that momentum. As they always sing in the stadium, don't back down. They always sing the Tom Petty song. They're not going to back down. In fact, on the Talking Sports with TK podcast, Florida is one of my picks. Those are free picks that we give out on the podcast with Anthony Gallo and Trey Blossman and I. And Trey also likes Florida in that game. So I'm taking the Gators and laying the points. There's another Sports Shorts Daily special for you.
There you go. All right, so the 49.5, I'm taking the 49.5, particularly maybe take that first half line, whatever it is. I think LSU's not Florida Memorial, which is who Southern played you last week, okay? That's not a junior high. That's not a high school. That's at a college. Never heard of it. You put a gun in my head, I'm dead. Florida Memorial, okay, who they beat 86-0. This is not them. I think LSU can go out and run 34 wham all day long and score. I would like to see them obviously get the ball to Keyshawn Butte. Let's make him happy. Let's get him his 3-4 touches with 2 touchdowns. And then after that, just run the hell out of the ball and get you a victory and keep everybody healthy. Chance Babb in the real swamp is at Cajun Field. There you go, Daryl.
There you go, Daryl. Good one.
By the way, Cajuns at home, night game on one of the ESPN properties this Saturday night. So if you want to watch a real game, they go to the Swamp. They don't play very often on Saturday nights. A lot of Saturday days, a lot of midweek games at home in Lafayette these days. But they're actually have a night game on one of the ESPN channels this Saturday night due to Raging Cajuns. All right, TK, tonight, Parkview Baptist taking on Catholic in New Iberia. You can watch the game on Pelican Broadcasting. That's cable channel 20 in Baton Rouge and Lafayette. Derry Beckwith and I will be on the call the next 3 weeks for Parkview football. And this week, a good one, Catholic New Iberia. So folks over on Cox Cable channel 20 in Lafayette and Baton Rouge, or you can download the Pelican app and watch it, stream it. On there. Anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, they're voting today, Major League Baseball. They're going to add the pitch clock for next year. They're going to make the bases bigger. You know why they want to make the bases bigger, Ronnie? You're going to think I'm making this up. Why do they want to make the bases
so that
bigger?
Makes it easier for the umpires to get the calls right?
No, because players' feet are bigger now.
Is that what they said?
That's what they said. I'm not good enough to make that up, okay? And then also they're going to put in, this is the most significant thing. The defense, no shifting. You're going to have 4 guys with their feet in the dirt when the ball's thrown. Okay, you can't have that guy in shallow right, and you got to have 2 guys to the left of second base, 2 guys to the right of second base, and you can't like Austin Riley of the Braves, Machado of the Padres. A lot of times they'll run and go get in shallow right from third base. You can't do that. You have to designate the 2 guys that are going to be to the left and the 2 to the right, and you can't interchange that. We'll get into more of that at another later date.
Let me make sure I'm understanding this, Tommy. Let me make sure I'm understanding this. So currently, as it stands, there's basically 3 guys to the left and 3 guys to the right of the bag. To the left would be the shortstop, third base, and the left fielder. Okay, that would be to the left.
You got to be on the dirt with 2.
You have to be on the dirt with 2.
Yeah, your feet have to be on the dirt. 2 guys on the third base side, 2 guys on the first base side of the second base bag.
So if we've got a left-handed pull hitter, the most you can do is put the shortstop behind second base on the dirt.
He's got to be to the left
shaded,
of the bag.
right?
Yeah,
that's it.
And then you can't, like I said, Austin Riley of the Braves and Machado of the Padres, they do this. They'll run and play shallow right, on that pull hitter. No, you got to say who's going to be to the left, who's going to be to the right, and that can't change unless there's an injury.
Now, you can play that right fielder super shallow, but then obviously a ball over his head can, go to the wall.
Yeah. And again, it's being voted on today. The pitch clock, I don't think that's going to have a big impact. The bases, it remains the same. If the 18-inch base instead of the 15-inch base makes that much of a difference. But this defensive thing, because look, batting averages are down, okay? And they've done the analytics.
Is the big base going to be at all the bases or just first?
All 3 are going to be 18 inches by 18 inches instead of 15 by 15. They're saying that it's easier, less collisions. And then, like when the guy sides into second and they tag him and then he comes off the bag for that fast and they want to say, oh, no, he came off. They're thinking this could eliminate some of that as well. They're trying to make the game short and they're trying to get some more offense back in the game. That's another reason for the bigger bases, but to say the guys that play now have bigger feet than the guys that used to play. Come on, MLB, don't insult our intelligence.
It's probably true, but it's not making a difference. I'm surprised to me, if anything, just have the first base have that orange side, or you have in Little League, they have the orange side in foul territory, Yeah,
a lot of youth leagues do that for safety purposes. And I get it when you're 8, 10, 12 years old. That's a great rule, I think. I don't know. the major leagues, you need to have that. Hey, don't forget Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. They got 1,000 lunches going out today to first responders. How cool is that? They've been loading it up. That's why I'm kind of in a different spot here. Lunch special today is fried catfish with crawfish etouffee. And any tailgating for high school football tonight, the LSU Southern game tomorrow, you got a group coming to the house Sunday to watch the Saints. Anything you need, whether it's 4 people or 40 people or 400 people, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge can take care of you. They've also got the bourbon raffle going on. Go to Tremonti's.com, click the bourbon raffle tab. You need all the details of that. You need to get involved with that. That's going to take place next Thursday, the 15th. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. You'll be at Parkview Baptist later tonight. Tremonti's right down the street here on Jefferson Highway. Ronnie, you could probably hit a driver, a 3-wood, and a 3-iron and get to Parkview from Tremonti's. But you don't play golf anymore like me, so we got to change that next spring.
Driver,
a driver, 3-wood, 3-iron. I think you could get to. I think I could, which means you can. You hit it.
But if I hit that concrete just right, I might not need a 3-wood.
Oh, you could hit a putter. You hit a putter if you hit it right.
The Raging Cajuns, by the way, at home taking on Eastern Michigan Saturday night, 6:00. That game on NFL.network. On the NFL Network, or maybe I think it's on NFL Network. So check that out for Saturday night. By the way, a lot of people pulling for Billy Napier. Byron Painter says it agrees with you, Tommy. No letdown this week. So a lot of people jumping on the Billy Napier train over there in Florida. You know what's funny is and Byron asking, can you bring in the outfielders, replace the infielders? And the answer is no. You have to have 2 players on the dirt. That's it. Now you can put that out.
You can have your toes on the dirt. As soon as the ball's thrown, you can back up if you want.
The problem
is players don't want to back up.
Yeah, I mean, so you could. I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. As far as the outfielders go, you can do whatever you want with the outfielders. So if I want to put all 3 of them in right field, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So
now,
you could.
Now here's the other thing that's interesting, and I just started this when you said that. And I used to do this sometimes when I coach. Sometimes when you can't allow the win and run, you bring a 5th infielder in and you play a left center and right center guy, and you just hope they don't hit it down the line. I don't know how that might, but then major leagues don't do that much. Okay, I've seen it once or twice or 3 times in the last 20 years, but I don't know how that would be handled.
Well, interesting to see what the rules are going to be. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of rule changes. And look, the pitch clock, I'm okay with. Shouldn't be a factor if you're just having any kind of normal routine. Shouldn't be an issue. They've had the pitch clock in college. I've seen it in the minor leagues. It rarely ever gets called, so it shouldn't be an issue. And I'm a fan of the no shift. I do agree with that. I'm a fan of the no shift. I think it's all hey, let's get the batting averages up to 270 instead of 250. I agree with that.
And here's the thing: in the minor leagues, the pitch clock has not been a problem. The feedback is mostly good about it. Plus, they want to speed up that game. Now, Ronnie, they're going to use some discretion there. Okay, I mean, if it's 2-2 in the top of the ninth, they're not going to be as strict on the pitch clock as if it's 8-0.
Sure.
They're going to be, So I mean, you got to use a little discretion there. So that'll be part of it too. But
the one thing I would like to see happen is robo umps behind the plate.
Yeah, that has to happen. There's no question that has to happen.
I want to see robo umps behind the plate. It just automatically gets put up on the board. If and then allow coaches maybe a couple challenges in case there's a glitch on a robo ump one time or something. You can challenge that pitch and then they take a look at it or something. But it would make the game faster and it would make the game even better. As long as you have the technology that's accurate, with the strike zone. And it looks to me like it is. All right, Tommy, we'll be back on Monday. For those that want to check out tomorrow, Sports Church Radio will be live from LeBear's Casino. You can come by LeBear's Casino. We'll be there from 10 to noon by the Sportsbook, by the Barstool Sportsbook. Get all your bets in. The lines are going to be long. That's why they got those great kiosks. They're open 24/7 over there at LeBear's. A lot of fun to go out there, actually watch the games at their Barstool temporary sportsbook right now. Watch the games, get your action in. So check that out. We'll be there from 10 to noon. Tommy and I, Derry Beckwith will join us in the second hour. Hunter McCann will be out there as well. So we hope to see you. And if you can't join us, check us out on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. For Tommy, I'm Ronnie. Have a great weekend, everybody.